Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone in this room still focused, as this is our last session. But I hope everyone is still focused to hear this presentation, the good presentation from Mas Roshid and Mas Iqbal, that will talk about analysis of energy needs and energy potential in Papua. As we know that Papua is still raw, is still virgin. We are not yet explore energy in Papua. So I hope in this session, in the last session, everyone still focused to hear this interesting presentation about our brother in Papua. So for not long again, not using any time anymore. I will present to you Mas Rosid and Mas Iqbal. And okay, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you Mas Chandra. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you to Mr. Ahmad Agustiawan, Mr. Syukron, Mr. Pri, and all of you for being here today. My name is Muhammad Iqbal, and this is my partner, Roshid Rizkianto Jati. And we very excited to have the opportunity to present the topic of analysis of energy needs and energy potential in Papua. Next. Before we dive in, let me give you a quick overview of what we will cover today. First, I will start with Papua energy policy, and second, Mas Roshid with energy mix scenario, and the last conclusion from me. Next, Papua energy policy. Based on the electricity transmission network map, it can be concluded that Papua has several potentials in the energy sector, especially electricity. First, transmission network. As seen on the map, the transmission network in Papua is being expanded with the construction of new lines connecting major power plants such as hydroelectric power plants and gas-fired power plants to consumption centers in Jayapura and its surroundings in order to improve the reliability and access to energy distribution in the region. The second, from potential for renewable energy, in terms of renewable energy potential, Papua has great potential through the development of hydroelectric power plant, such as the Oria or Genyem hydroelectric power plant with a capacity of 20 megawatt and the Oria to hydroelectric power plant with a capacity of 14 megawatt in 2026, as well as the Jayapura 2 EBT PLT plant with a capacity of 50 megawatt in 2029, which shows significant potential for hydro energy and new renewable energy to support future electricity needs. And last, in terms of government support, there is a strong commitment to developing energy infrastructure in Papua through plans to build new power plants, expand transmission network, and integrate renewable energy, which aim to improve access and reliability of electricity supply in the region. Next. Okay. I will explain about the current condition of our power plants and the projection of future energy needs based on the data we have collected. As we can see from the pie charts, LTG currently dominate with 50.6% share of the total installed capacity. This shows that we are still very dependent on fossil fuels to meet our electricity needs. Other types of power plants such as PLTD, PLTU, and PLTMG also have a significant contribution, but are still far below PLTG. Meanwhile, power plants based on renewable energy source such as PLTS and PLTA still have a very small share. So, we have analysis based on the data we have. It can be concluded that first, Papua is very dependent on fossil fuels, especially gas to meet its electricity needs. Second is electricity demand continues to increase along with economic growth and improving living standards. And last, although still small, the potential for renewable energy development in Papua is very large. Next. I will explain the National Electricity Supply General Plan, RUPTL, which is a roadmap for developing power plants in Indonesia. In part A, in existing power plant, as can be seen of the table, PLTD currently dominates the installed capacity, especially in the Papua system. This shows that it is still very dependent on fossil fuels to meet electricity needs. And then in the part B, recapitulation of power plant development plan, we can see the projection of power plant development until 2030 shows a total additional capacity of 434.7 megawatt with the main contribution from PLN and IPP. PLTG or PLTMG will be the largest contributor with 145 megawatt, followed by the development of renewable energy such as PLTA, PLTM, and PLTEBT. The largest development will occur in 2022 and 2025 with an additional 116.7 megawatt and 131 megawatt respectively, highlighting the focus on diversifying energy sources. And in part C, potential in Papua provides an overview of the potential of for power plant development in various regions of Indonesia. There is great potential for the development of solar power plants or PLTS, and then PLTB or wind power plants and hydropower plants PLTA. So we have analysis based on the data we have. It can be concluded that still same Papua still very dependent on diesel, gas to meet its electricity needs. There is a great potential to develop renewable energy in Indonesia, Papua, but it still requires stronger policy support. Next. About alternate energy potential, primary energy sources in Papua that can be utilized for power generation are limited to potential sources of water energy, biomass energy, and solar energy. However, their capacity is very large, which locations that are quite far from the load center, which means that they are not yet feasible for massive development. Next.
Okay, for the energy mix scenario, I will explain to you. For the scenario development, we develop two scenario for analysis in this application lib. The first scenario use data from RUPTL or Electricity Supply Business Plan and RUAD regional energy plan for Papua, projecting energy needs based on regional plans, local research, policy, and infrastructure. It provides a realistic view of energy development if current plans are followed. The second scenario follows the government commitment to achieving net zero emission in 2060, with fossil fuels use phase out and fully replaced by renewable energy, assuming that 5% annual growth in renewable energy. This scenario explores how Papua can support long-term carbon emission reduction by utilizing natural resources like hydropower, solar, and wind. For the key assumption and model implementation, as we can see in the table, the power plant configuration table highlights key aspect of power generation in Papua. Plant types includes PLTU, PLTG, PLTD, PLTA, biomass, wind, and solar. And the installed capacity show that megawatt capacity for each plant. And the capacity credit percentage, how much install capacity is typical utilized. And the lifetime is operational lifespan of the each plant that I say before. and maximum availability is indicate the percentage of time the plants are available to regenerate power annually. This table is outlined to generate power annually and comparing fossil fuels and renewable crucial for Papua transition toward net zero emission. And this one is key assumption and model implementation that we input on the LEAP. As we can see, there is 3 tables for the key assumption and implementation model we use. We can see from the table below that the first scenario use a step function due to RUAD and RUPTL data being based on a 5-year planning interval. In contrast, the second scenario applies interpolation, which is set to 0 for vessel energy in the final project year in 2050. To answer gradual decline until 2050 for renewable energy generation, the scenario with a 5% annual increase is applied using a growth function for the renewable energy. And then this is the final result of the RUAD and RUPTL, or the first scenario. The result shows that we can see a significant difference after incorporating key assumption that I said before and implementing the RUAD RUPTL scenario model, with a notable contrast in the use of both renewable and fossil energy. This is for the second scenario. The result is in the scenario, we can observe the fossil energy has been substituted to renewable energy with the power plant using hydropower and solar power plant. And this one is the energy balance module for the supply and demand. The table above is showing that the RUAD and RUPTL scenario successfully meet the energy demand. However, in our scenario, the substitution ability scenario, there remains a gap between demand and supply. This is indicate that 5% annually growth in renewable energy is insufficient to fully substitute the electricity demand, suggesting in the need for either a higher growth rate or further substitution of conventional energy resource. Next, Mas Iqbal.
Okay, for the general conclusion, first, Papua has great potential in the energy sector, thanks to its transmission network, abundant renewable energy sources, and government support. However, various steps are being taken to reduce dependence on coal in order to support the achievement of net zero emissions. Second, Indonesia still relies heavily on coal for power generation, but increasing demand and the huge potential of renewable energy show opportunities to create a more sustainable energy future. Third, a commitment from the government is needed to prioritize increasing the efficiency of power plants and exploring the potential for developing renewable energy. And last, only a small portion of Indonesia's alternative energy potential is utilized, emphasizing the importance of maximizing renewable resources that remain unexplored. Thanks. Thank you. I will give back to Mas Chandra.
Okay, thank you, Mas Iqbal and Mas Rosid. We will give applause for both of them. This is very good presentation that show that in Papua, actually many renewable resources that can be used in the future. As for the RUPTL, so that hydropower is still can be maximized in the next future years. So maybe if we want to export again, maybe we will parallel with RUPTL, so we can study about hydropower in Papua. Okay. If there are any question, I will give maybe 2. or 3? Okay, Mas Radit.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. I will ask maybe one question. How does the LEAP model simulate Papua's energy transition in the second scenario, particularly in achieving net zero emission NZA by 2060? And why is the scenario in the simulation only until 2050?
Okay, thank you. It's about net zero emission in the second scenario,
Okay,
Mas Rashid and Mas Iqbal.
I will answer the question from Mas Radit. Midterm policy goals, many government and regional energy plans such as the RUPTL and RUED often set their targets or strategies for 2050, serving as a critical milestone for energy transitions before achieving full net zero emissions by 2060.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any?
2060.
2050 and
10 years different.
2060.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mas Radit. Any other question? Okay, Mbak Sabrina.
Okay, thank you. I will ask to Peltem H team. Okay. Why in the renewable energy substitution scenario are Peltem H and Pelte Bayu not considered alternative for conventional energy substitution? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Sabrina, for the question. I think it's very good question. I will try to answer it. This is because we found that no such plans are found in the historical data. However, if we look to the RUAD and RUPTL scenario, there are plans to build both PLT M and PLT Bayu. Therefore, those two plans are included in the first scenario. So, as we can see, this data is only used in the first scenario.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Sabrina. Okay, if there is no other question, I will close this session. Once again, we will give applause to Mas Rashid and Mas Iqbal. And this is for last presentation. Okay, I will give back the time and the room for Pak Aas.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.